Well, good morning, Wareham. It is Friday, August 16th, and we have a great show here for you. The news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. This morning, we will be speaking to Kathleen Gilson and Linda Scruff from the Wareham Culture Council, who are in the studio to talk about their Wareham Culture Council committee. And also, you know the song, but have you visited the farm? WCTV takes you inside Old McDonald's farm. And Carl Sherford, editor at Wareham Week, joins us this morning for week's news and events. But first, would like to take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the morning show. Stay tuned because the weather and the news headlines are next. Well, it's going to be a beautiful day out there. Cloudy skies today, though, high at 78. Partly cloudy skies in the evening with more clouds for later at night with low at 64. Tomorrow, high at 78, partly cloudy skies during the evening, which will give way to cloudy skies overnight. A stray of shower or thunderstorm is possible, low at 66. And on Sunday, mostly cloudy skies early, then partly cloudy in the afternoon. A stray of shower or thunderstorm is possible as well, high around 85 and low at 69. And that's all for today's weather. There were plenty of news stories, and here are the news headlines. Well, Wareham Week had the following stories. We're going to start with Wareham Free Library, which received over $12,000 of donations. Of these funds, $10,000 were received from Wareham Library Foundation, Inc. and the Friends of Wareham Free Library, Inc. and will be used towards purchasing books and materials in addition to purchasing museum passes. Also, the Friends of the Wareham Free Library donated amount of money, a sum of $500 to the Spinney Memorial Branch Library in memory of Richard Weller, a Wareham resident and a lifelong environmental advocate. The money will be used to purchase books related to environmental science, sustainability, and nature. Also today, Wareham might soon become a sister town with Wareham in England. Wareham is a market town in Dorset, England, and is located close to south coast of Ireland, and is bordered by two rivers, the River Frome and the River Peddle or Trent. And the idea to become a sister town was born back in 1976 when the mayor of Wareham, England, visited Wareham, Massachusetts, but the idea was never executed. However, town moderator Claire Smith believes that the status of sister town can be achieved very soon, this year or next year. And the second recreational marijuana retailer is now step closer to opening as the Zoning Board of Appeals approved a special permit for Nature's Medicine, which will be located at Old Sears Appliance Store at 3113 Cranberry Highway. Nature's Medicine was formerly known as, it's Xiphias. I think it's Cyphus Wellness, and received a host community agreement under that name. The Wareham location would only be adult use retail. The company will also be using pre-order service that allows customers to place order in advance. In order to enter the store, customers would have to show an ID, which would then be scanned inside for legitimacy. That's all for today's news. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more. I just received word that Carl Sherford isn't in the studio yet, so we will move on to our second part of the program, and that is my tour to Old MacDonald's farm. You know the song, Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and WCTV visited. So here's a little sneak peek behind Old MacDonald's farm. For longer than a century, the Plymouth County Farm has played an integral role in the county. Through their horticulture program, they are able to give back and rehabilitate lives. So I decided to visit the farm today to learn more about the program.
Well, thank you for coming today.
So tell me about this farm.
This farm has been located here in Plymouth and is operated for more than a century.
Ran by one of the oldest law enforcement agencies in the nation, the Plymouth County Farm is a local tourist attraction.
Quite often tourists coming up from the Cape are quite surprised to see a herd of cattle out along Route 3 here during the day.
This local attraction is part of inmate rehabilitation program. Inmates work the farm, growing produce, which then gets donated to the Plymouth Food Bank, while proceeds from plants and flower sales go towards supporting civic inmate programs.
Many of the individuals that come to us either haven't had the opportunity to work a full-time job, or it's an opportunity to essentially pay it forward, to develop work habits, and it's also an opportunity, frankly, to give back to the community by investing their time and labor in growing something that literally allows the program to continue. And that's always been the philosophy of it, which is rather than simply sitting in your cell doing your time and so forth, this is a chance to give back not only to yourself, but also to the community.
The farm rests on 90 acres of land owned by the county, and it has seen multiple uses over the past century. Back when the old county jail was located, where is now the Plymouth Courthouse, inmates used to grow food that went towards their canteen fund. However, under the current administration of Sheriff Joe McDonald, the mission has been towards rehabilitation and community. One of the farm's major attractions is their free petting zoo.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm he had some cows, E-I-E-I-O.
It's an opportunity for kids who may not really know what a cow looks like or a chicken looks like to come down and see them. The goats are very popular.
Now, in what ways is this farm looking to expand or further its mission?
Well, I think it's a case of more renewal than it is expansion. At the time, it had fallen into somewhat disrepair, and it's been a slow and steady progress in terms of bringing it back to its former glory. Hi there.
Oh, you are so big.
Hi there.
Oh my God, you're big. Thank you for saying hello. Now, how important would you say this farm is to the overall operation?
It's important, first and foremost, as an inmate program, because the Sheriff's Department or the Sheriff's Office is the one place where we don't want repeat customers. Anything we can do to see that people return to lawful and productive lives is important, and that has been our first mission in the 100 years and in the 16 years that Sheriff McDonald has been here. But in addition to that, simply as a community resource and a public resource, that's vitally important.
So whether you're here to pet some animals or check out some plants, or you'd like to come for a picnic, it is free for you and your loved ones to come and enjoy the beauty of the farm. To learn more about the Plymouth County Farm, you can visit them online. Now, this concludes our tour, and reporting from Plymouth, I am Queen Banda of WCTV. Well, as I said, it is free for you and your loved ones to go there. Just visiting their place, they did say that people go there for picnics. You can bring your lunch and sit there and have some lunch. Weddings have taken place there. Birthday parties have taken place there. It's really a neat place to be. And it was such a beautiful day when we went. It was breezy, you know, very nice and cool instead of the summer heat we have experienced in the past few weeks. Anyhow, now we are moving on to our second segment. Still, Cole Sherford isn't in the studio, so we are going to use this time to hang out with Scott Record, who is going to show us how he makes his lobster pot pie.
You'll get to see it, we'll get to taste it, and you'll get to make it. Well, here we are at Scott Record again. Going to make something real spectacular, I think. And just to be honest, this is my own personal creation. 5 or 6 years ago, if you went into popular restaurants with seafood, nobody had lobster pot pie. The way it came to me, I love chicken pot pie. So I decided, well, here I am. I live in the Cape. How about lobster pot pie? Lobster pot pie. So put it all together. It took me about 8 attempts to make it the way I liked it. Because you can't make lobster pot pie with a chicken gravy. So I figured, what can I use that would be lobster? Lobster Newburgh sauce. It's got a little bit of sherry in it, or it could be cognac, but there's egg yolks, there's cream, there's the same vegetables. So I did that, and I put it all together, and I used regular pie crust. It was too much crust. It was too crusty. It was all crusty crust. So I've refined it by several different methods, and now I like to use ramekins, like a 10-ounce ramekin, which is the little porcelain round circular dish, and I put the fixins inside, chunks of lobster, all the vegetables, whole cream, a little bit of sherry, and then on top, like 8 to 10 layers of phyllo pastry. It comes out just right. So this is how we're going to start. This is what we're going to do. Okay, I'm back, and I'm going to do another magic trick. Nothing in my hands. Presto! Magic trick. This is, look at this. This is lobster meat.
I'd like you to meet my little friend.
This was a 5.5-pound lobster. Steamed it. I prefer steaming it. Decent sized chunks, but then I've kept big pieces of claw meat that I will be able to use on the tops of my presentation. Hold on. I'm also going to show you this. Presto! All right, this is phyllo dough. Greek phyllo dough. It's very, very, very thin dough. I've had this sitting out for 2 hours after it was sitting all night in the refrigerator because it's frozen in the store. I like extra virgin olive oil. That helps the butter. Dina, don't lick. This is good. So, the hardest, the most solid, the most firm vegetable I'm going to cook are the carrots. So I want to put them in first. I want those, takes a while for them to soften. And that is about a cup of carrots. Now, what makes it for me with this recipe is the pearl onions. They're little, they're tiny, they're sweet. Parboiled them, put them in an ice bath, cut the tips off. And these shallots are minced up so small, and this is about half a cup of shallots. And it can be a little bit on the, yeah, it's more like 3/4 of a cup of shallots. Get them in there, saute those babies a little bit, because this onion sauce goes into the sauce and makes the sauce good. So now to add to this sauteing, just to get it warmed up, will be lobster meat. And I am not bashful with the lobster meat. I'm going to make up a few portions of this, so this just stays in for a little while just to get warm. Himalayan red salt, pink salt. Now I am going to put a little bit of nutmeg in. And then I'm also going to put some of those cayenne peppers that I had, and it's going to be a very, very small amount. That should do it, and that's for me. Now, do I want cognac or do I want sherry? I think cognac, because the cognac has a bigger, broader nose to it. Just want to make sure it hasn't gone bad. Cognac is only wine that's 500 years old, so I don't think it's gone bad yet. But this is cool. I'm going to put in about 3 tablespoons and a half of cognac. This is the fresh parsley from the garden. And I'm going to put at least a cup and maybe 2. Drizzle it in very easily, because if it goes in all at once, it'll end up being scrambled eggs. These egg yolks will make this thicken up nicely. It's time to assemble my lobster pot pie with a Newburgh sauce. And these are the 10-ounce Pyrex baking dishes that I was talking about. I'm going to see how many I'm going to get out of this filling. And then we put the phyllo on. But it looks like I'm only going to get 6 on this cookie tin. So let's do 6 to start with and see what we get. It's all in here, man. This is cooking, baby. So we are going to take these with big chunks of lobster, peas. Look at that. How good does that look? That looks so sensational. Dad, why do you scrape the pan? Because that's the profits. All right. Who's got a little bit too much? Why don't you give up some of this over to here? How about you giving up some of that over here? Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looking good, man. Looking good, man. There's 6. Wait till you see the ending. The ending includes, and rightly so, phyllo pastry. This is a roll of phyllo pastry that is thoroughly defrosted. Now you can see these beautiful sheets of pastry, and that's good. Now, they will dry out so quickly. So I'm going to take a piece of plastic wrap that's bigger than they are and just put it over them like that. And then I will take a dish towel, a clean dish towel, wet it. I did this before, so you really soak it up really good, and then wring it out so it's like just wrung dry. Goes over the whole thing. And when you need to, you just flip it back and deal with it. Try to put them at little different angles every time they go on. This is good. Lobster pot pie with the essence of Newburgh sauce and 10 layers of phyllo pastry on top. As you can see, there's peas, there's pearl onions, there's carrots, there's whole cream. There's quite a bit going on there. It's pretty good stuff.
This is very good. You managed to make it, the taste is so light. You know, I know it has heavy cream in it,
right,
and a lot of butter, as it should, but
and
it somehow tastes so light. It's
and
even
cognac.
heavy.
There's
Yes.
cognac in there. There's everything, but it's it all melts together pretty good. Okay. And we're all going to come back, and we're going to make more different kinds of food for you. We might make a spinach pie. We might make ice cream. I'll make a Carvel cake from scratch. Whatever. We'll do something cool. If you have any ideas, write in to WCTV or write in to me. Look on YouTube. These are getting around, so we hope you enjoyed this.
Well, hello and welcome back. So my guest is here, Cole Shufford, right?
Chloe, but yes, hi, sorry.
Chloe. Dang it. Chloe Shufford is in the studio. She's the editor of Wareham Week newspaper, and we normally host Nadia Karitnakova on Fridays, but Chloe was nice enough to come today in news of Nadia's absence. So we will be discussing today two topics, and that is the email, the Wendy drama, and also we'll be talking about triple E virus. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the important news, and that is triple E virus.
Yes.
The drama, we'll get to the drama later on.
Yes, yeah.
As beautiful as it was. So triple E virus, we are still facing the threat. So tell us what you were able to gather.
Right, so it was announced last week that a man in the county who later it was confirmed he lives in Plymouth, or sorry, in Rochester, was diagnosed with triple E, which is a mosquito-borne virus that can lead to brain swelling as sort of one of the main symptoms. So that means that a bunch of towns around here are at a critical risk level, and so the Department of Public Health is telling everyone to try and be indoors as much as you can at night during, from dusk to dawn, which is peak mosquito hours. So it's also having a lot of impact on different events like the Summer of Love concerts in Onset and fall sports. And just a bunch of other stuff that people like to do outside in the summer. They're having to be more cautious about.
So they're cautious, but has anything been canceled?
Well, those Summer of Love concerts have been moved to inside the VFW hall instead of at the band shell. And I know that they're making it so that all fall sport practices will end at 6 p.m. And it's not clear yet what the impact of that will be on like football games and stuff like that, especially because the risk level will stay the same until the first hard frost in November, which kills most of the mosquitoes. So these are precautions that people are going to be living with for a couple months.
Yes. Now, did the town insist any rules, regulations imposed on restaurants, especially those outdoors restaurants?
Yeah, I asked Bob Ethier, who's the health agent, about that, and he said, it's not a police state. They can't make people sit inside, but they would recommend against it, I think, and recommend that people wear appropriate bug spray and stuff to protect themselves.
Okay, so when this story was unraveling, tell me about, covering it. Did you feel like information was flowing faster enough and as thorough as possible? Because this is the big deal.
Yeah.
This is mosquito-borne, and yes, not to make a big fuss out of it, but the fact that mosquitoes do not discriminate anybody.
Yeah.
You can wear long sleeves, but should we be walking around with turtlenecks as well? Bites can happen anywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just, I want to get your viewpoint, you as somebody, in the media.
Right. Well, so I remember we got I don't know if how many people are signed up for it, but there's that alert system in Wareham. So I got an alert on my cell phone on Saturday about that critical risk status. So I put an email to Bob Ethier right away, and then luckily the state has a lot of information on their websites. So that was a really good source. And then we talked to Bob Ethier, and Nadia reached out to someone at the State Department of Public Health and got some questions answered from him. So that was really good. And I talked to the vet Dr. Francis at the Marion Animal Hospital, because people are also worried about the effect, because, dogs, I don't know about cats, but dogs definitely can get it, as can horses and other kinds of animals. So you want to protect them too.
Okay, so you were able to get the answers that you needed.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
All right, so have you talked to anybody in the town, public opinion regarding this? How people are feeling?
Not really, not yet. I think that would be a good thing to ask it, if we're covering some outdoor events this weekend. One thing that we're keeping an eye out for is illumination night. I think that the OBA hasn't decided yet how they're going to change those plans, but.
Okay, and that's supposed to be outside as well.
Yeah, and like at night so you can see.
Okay.
But.
All right, so at least people are taking certain precautions. Thank goodness all the major concerts are already done.
Right.
Blues Festival. Though that does not run until late at night. But Cambodian Festival and so forth.
Right.
Okay. Did you hear any information regarding spraying? Should we expect more? Are they done?
Yes, so they did, the first round of aerial spraying was August like 9th to 11th, something like that. And I haven't looked yet online today, but I know that the state is going to do another round of aerial spraying the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
And I think that they hadn't, last I checked, they hadn't decided when or where that was going to happen. But people can also request for someone from the county to come and spray like their front yard from the street with a truck. So that's a resource that's available to people, because I know that not all of Wareham was in the spray area the last time. So
Okay. All right, so let's move on to our gossiping column. And that is the Wendy's email.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, we know what happened. A customer not so pleased with the service decided to put in a formal complaint to the manager through the chain, and the manager replied back. And he was polite. He did say, "We are sorry and we hope to mend the problems." However, he was very truthful, according to him, of what he saw as a problem. What's your take of how things went down?
Well, as I think you probably know, since then he's been fired. He was suspended and then fired, which he confirmed actually in an interview on Fun 107 yesterday. But it was interesting to see the response from people online, because what the manager said was that Wareham didn't have the talent pool to staff a Wendy's, and that he said he couldn't hire recovering drug addicts, and that was most of the people who were applying.
Now, was that against company policy? Was he truthful about that?
It seems like, I think it seems like what he was sort of saying was that a lot of people who are recovering addicts have some sort of criminal record, and they can't hire people with a criminal record.
Okay.
So it seems like he sort of was overgeneralizing, because he did say later that that they would hire a recovering addict without a criminal record, but I think that was something that really upset people. Is that why are you denying people work when they're in recovery and trying to rebuild their life? But it was interesting because the reaction online was pretty evenly split. I thought between people who were saying like, how dare he say that Wareham doesn't have the talent pool to staff a Wendy's, like all the other fast food places are fine, and people being like, oh, he's right, and it was brave for him to say so. So it was interesting to see sort of how people think about the town.
Well, what did our town moderator say?
Our town moderator?
No, not moderator, sorry, town administrator.
Administrator, I think he was disappointed, and the selectman also kind of expressed like it doesn't help anyone when people talk about the town like that. It's not accurate. Necessarily, and it's rude, I think, was a big part of it.
Yeah, it was a major story. Fox 25 came on down to get a few sound bites from Derek that day. I didn't even know such a thing happened. I'm not very up there with the social media. So before you know it, I'm like, oh, what's going on? Wendy's and all that. Now, I have seen people suggesting boycotting Wendy's.
Right.
Do we have the muscle of boycotting Wendy's? I mean, really, do we have the unity to say I'm not going to eat a Wendy's because of the email?
Well, I feel like it's so split already, the way people's reactions to it. And also, I mean, the guy already got fired, so I don't know how much boycotting Wendy's would do, because he doesn't work there anymore. But they're also closed a lot, it seems like.
They close a lot. And, and mainly, truly, they do not have people to fill those hours.
Right.
Maybe we have a lot of food chains, a lot of fast food chains in this.
Yeah, there are a lot of restaurants around
here. Especially on that strip there.
Right.
They are looking to open a new location. Do we know the status of that new location?
I asked, and I haven't heard anything back, but I'll keep pushing on it. But it seems, I mean, personally, I think it wouldn't make sense to open a second location if you can't reliably staff your first location. But I don't know. I'm not a fast food executive, so.
All right, so there's one position open.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody who's looking to be, what is it? He was
district manager.
District manager.
Yeah.
Wow.
Up and down I-195.
Absolutely, district manager, not even just a branch manager, district manager. All right. Well, during his interview, was he remorseful? Did he acknowledge any mistake done?
Sort of. So the interview, and this is my personal take on the interview, he was sort of at the beginning being like, well, he wasn't real. He was kind of speaking like in the passive voice. Do you know what I mean? Like, what it should have said after that sentence was this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But he did apologize later, and I think he felt kind of bad, but it's, you know, it's hard to tell. And I think also probably he was, I would guess, partially trying to publicly express some remorse, which would help him get another job because, you know, he needs a new job.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here this morning to cover the news. Any events coming up this weekend we should be looking forward to?
So I'm very excited that Chalk Fest is tomorrow
Oh, yes.
in Onset. So that's going to be a big one from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can go and get chalk and everything for $5, but get there early because it fills up fast. And there's also going to be like a craft fair and live music, and there's a bunch of, you know, professional chalk artists. So that'll be really cool to go and see.
Okay. Very good. And also there's a fundraiser. Onset Beautification Committee.
Oh, right.
Tonight.
Yeah. At Trevor's, right?
Yes.
That'll be a good one.
That'll be a good one. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Queen.
So that was Chloe Shufford, right?
Yes.
And my apologies. We're
Don't
never
worry.
going to make that mistake again. She is here, and she was here to discuss the week's news and upcoming events this weekend. We're going to take a brief break, and we'll be back with Today in History. Hello and welcome back. Well, we had such a lovely show and we're running out of time. So we cannot do today in history. However, you can go online, history.com, and you can read all the history you want. A lot of good history in there. So this now is the coffee segment, and with me, I'm joined by Kathleen Gilson and Linda Schauf from the Wareham Cultural Council board. It's a board.
It's a board.
Okay,
town
Wareham
board.
Culture Council Board. So they are here to reintroduce themselves to all of us, and we're gonna find out about the cool things they do. Welcome, ladies.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Thank you for being here. How is everybody feeling?
Good.
Summer.
You have confidence.
Summer.
Summer. All right. So tell us what Wareham Culture Council is.
You want to take that, Kathleen?
Okay. The council is composed of 6 members right now, and it basically evaluates grant applications and gives out funds to the people who get the grant, and it's for activities in the arts, in the humanities, and the sciences.
Okay. So all these activities are happening in town. So any committee out there or any person with an organization looking to do something in Wareham or Onset and they would like some funds, they come to you.
It's one of the places.
How does the approving process work? Meaning, what do you have to show in order to get those funds?
You have to apply for a grant.
Okay.
And the grant applications are from September 1st to October 15th. So you have to plan ahead
Okay.
and realize what you want to do. And you apply for the grant, and then they're evaluated, and if they meet the priorities of the council, then they are given a grant, and they use it within that year.
Okay, very good. Now, Linda, as you're evaluating these applications, these grants, what are you looking for? I assume you get a lot.
It would be nice to get more.
Really?
Yes, really.
Okay.
Because there are probably a lot of people out there who think that maybe they aren't eligible for a grant or something like that, but they're open to any individual or organization, and they don't even have to be in Wareham as long as the programs that they're sponsoring have a Wareham venue and benefit the people of Wareham and Onset and all of the areas of Onset.
Oh, that is
Wareham.
very interesting. So you're looking for more people to come forward seeking the funds.
Right.
I don't hear that from many people.
Last year we had 29 apply, and we were able to give out 19 grants.
Okay.
So we would like to better that number this year and get more than 29.
Is there a limit? Can somebody request a specific amount?
They can. They can look at what their project is and get an idea of, they can request any amount. What we might not be able to grant it. Last year we were given around $7,200 by the state, and it had to be divided amongst the candidates that looked like they really offered something to the people of Wareham and Onset and would be a valuable project.
So the money comes from the state.
Yes.
What if we do not use all of it?
We do use all of it. We divide the grants. All the money is given out. We have to, as part of our direction from the Mass Cultural Council, which is where the money comes from, we have to give out all of the money that we are allotted.
Okay.
So
but
we
if
do.
it's not used up, it can go over into the next year's fiscal funding.
Okay.
If somebody can't do their project, then it comes back to the council.
All right. So tell me about the applications that you have approved for this year. Some of them that you have approved. We're having a chalk festival. It's not a fundraiser. I think it's a festival, right?
It is.
Is that part of this?
Yes, it is.
Yes, they've received funds.
So I have a list here of some of the projects, the projects that we funded. So there are many projects from the Onset Bay Association, their summer concerts, and the Chalk Fest, and Illumination Night. There are some projects that took place at the library, the summer reading program, and there were a couple of talks for kids on science and growing vegetables, things like that. The Wareham Land Trust has gotten some grants for a program for ospreys and something else that they did. I
They
forget.
built birdhouses.
Was that last year?
That was this past summer, yeah.
Oh, very nice.
And the Wareham Oyster Festival.
Yeah.
And the concerts, the cranberry concerts, what are they called? Cranberry Coast concerts.
Okay.
So many things that you know about, and some are less popular, less well known, like the drama club from the high school, and things like that. So, but there are probably a lot of people who could do wonderful things too.
So everything has beginning. Tell me about the beginning, the origins
Of the
of
mass
the board.
culture.
Yeah.
Well, there are 329, I think it is, councils in the state, and the funds come from the state. It started back in the 1980s at some point as the Arts Lottery Council,
Okay.
and then it changed to the Mass Cultural Council. And so our name is, we're an offshoot of that, and we're
Yeah.
the Wareham Cultural Council, and each of the towns have that. So that's how it started.
We've been around 21 years.
21 years. Does Wareham have a personal mission apart from the bigger state's mission?
Not really. I mean, we're there to not empower people to be able to do some of the art programs that they do, and bring culture into the town, and that's basically our objective.
Good, very good.
And we do have a Facebook page that talks about a lot of the programs that go on and alert people to when the grants are due and things like that, in addition to the Mass Cultural Council's local council site.
Well, now, when we're talking about grants, some people who have not, including myself, have never written a grant. Just the word itself scares me. How complicated is the process?
It's very simple, and it's all online, and they give you step-by-step directions on how to fill it out. So it's not a hard process, it just takes time to do it.
Okay. And of course, you're encouraging more and more people to do so.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no reason not to. I mean, the most that can happen is that you don't get funded this year, but you can still do your project. You know, it's encouraging, really, to just think of a project that you would want to present to the people of Wareham and Onset and do it, whether you get funding or not, you know?
Yeah. Oh, very good. So how does the Wareham Culture Council tries to inspire the young generation?
Well, through the programs that we present and
Okay.
the different arts,
All right.
encouraging them to participate.
And what if somebody wants to be part of the council? How do they go about doing so?
You apply at Town Hall, Wareham Town Hall, and there's a form. You just say that you're interested, more or less, and you give your information, and then the selectmen they present the pamphlet to the council. The council says, yeah, it looks like it would be a good mix for our committee, and then they just go to the Board of Selectmen meeting and they talk to them, ask them a question or something, and then they say,
You're in.
welcome. Yeah. And then the terms are for like 2 years or something like that.
2 years, and then you can be reappointed twice, so a total of 6 years. Then you have to be off the council for at least a year, and then you can reapply again after that. So they like a turnover on the councils and different people.
Now, you're the chairman.
Yes.
Tell me how you got into this. Why is this so important to you?
Well, I think all the activities in town are important. I raised children in town. I was a teacher in town. And having the different programs, I think, are so important for the culture of the town as well, and to increase that. And it helps with the funding of it. So I was asked by a former member to join the council, and I did. And this is my 6th year, so I'll be going off after this year, but it's enjoyable. There are a lot of different programs that we don't really know about, and to be able to help fund them through the state. It doesn't cost the town anything, and it's in the state budget how much money we will get, which we will find out in September how much Wareham will be allotted. Each town is allotted a different amount of money. I don't know how they come by their ratio.
Yes.
But we'll be getting the money, well, we'll be getting a notice of how much we'll get for this year in September.
Now, on that note, has funding been going up, down, inconsistent?
It goes up and down depending on the budget of the
Okay.
State House and how much they're willing. This year they're putting in $2 million more than they did last year. So it's, they're appreciating what's happening in the arts.
How did you get into the concert?
I'm an artist, and I was on the Plymouth Cultural Council when I moved to Wareham. I wanted to still be involved in, I think it's important for a lot of people from a lot of different perspectives to be on all the boards in Wareham, if possible, so that a lot of different viewpoints and perspectives could be heard and appreciated. So that's why I am there.
How long have you been with the council?
Just in my first year of this in Wareham.
Oh, okay. And so far, so good?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Very good. So, okay, the application process, the window is still open, right? You said until
It won't
September.
start until September 1st.
It won't start until September 1st.
You won't be able to apply until, but it's from September 1st to October 15th.
Okay.
And they just go on to the Mass Cultural Council website.
Is that for me?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So people, September 1st until October 15th, people have this time to apply. As for now, what should they be doing?
Getting together their idea for what they want to present, the program that they might think would be of interest. I talked to one woman at the library at one of the events, and she said, "Oh, I raise animals. You know, I have a goat and I have a cow and
Yeah.
things." I said, "You should do apply to the council and put on a program for the children of the town. You know, bring them to the library, have them come to her. It's at her house.
Yeah.
It's only really fun, but it can be any. They should be getting their ideas of what they might like to present."
Oh, okay. This is very neat. You don't have to be an organization
No.
or a committee, club, whatever, you personally, as long as you're sharing something with the whole community.
Right.
Oh, that's so neat.
It is. It's nice.
And it's a pretty wide range. It's arts and sciences and humanities, and people might not realize that humanities are comprised of, among other things, history, social studies, philosophy, criticism, and literature. So you can fit almost anything that you're interested in into some of those categories. So it's kind of like how to creatively craft your grant proposal.
And we just conducted a community input survey in April at the town meeting, and then it was online, and then it was also at the library. And it came through the respondents that we received. They tend to want more, well, they want community events as their #1 priority for things. And then it's music, and then there were other choices, but that what the community wants is community events. Things that are presented in Wareham. They don't have to be by Wareham people, but that's in Wareham.
Okay. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us this morning. As I told you, this was going to be very brief.
It was.
Thank you. Thank
To
you.
my viewers, thank you for joining us yet in another episode of Good Morning Wareham. This concludes our Friday morning show. If you missed us, this particular episode will be rebroadcasted this evening at 6 p.m. It will also go on YouTube, Wareham Community Television YouTube, and also Facebook, you name it. Anyhow, we'll be back on Monday, and to thank again my guest, I was speaking to Kathleen Gilson, the chairman of Wareham Cultural Council Board, and also to Linda Schaff, who also is in the council, and she's also a local artist. Thank you, Wareham, and have a pleasant day. Bye.